Hey, so welcome back to my Confessions of a Doctor Who Monster. Maybe we should call this, or it's in memoir styley. So sit comfortably. This is rambling. Okay. So to recap, being a Doctor Who nerd, but a bad Doctor Who nerd, because I've got kind of some neurodiversity, but not all the right bits. I finally got myself a role on Doctor Who as a monster. They don't tell you anything before. Doctor Who is kept in great secrecy, so they don't want anything leaking out. So I didn't know exactly what I was going to be. All I knew was that I was going to be running over rough ground, which is something that I can't do because I have dyspraxia, but which I said I could do because I wanted to be in Doctor Who. So nice little holiday in Wales, lovely little B&B. They made us Welsh cakes and lovely little area actually. So I had to go all the way to a studio just for a costume fitting for 10 minutes, which took hours and hours and hours of driving. Then it was probably the next week that we started the filming, and initially it was days, and it was in a kind of a abandoned derelict industrial building with corridors, and this is where we were filming chasey, roundy and corridor scenes. So what I started to say in the last video was that the first day David Tennant was there, Freeman Agyeman was there, and John Barrowman may have been there, and also a lot of people were saying, oh, Derek Jacobi's here, and this was before Derek Jacobi appeared in Doctor Who, and I had absolutely no idea who he was. I probably did see him, but I don't recognise it. I'm terrible. That's the other thing, is I don't recognise faces. So and I don't really know actors. So you know, people talk about these people, and I've got no idea. People talk about Angelina Jolie and people like that. I've got no idea who these people are. Anyway, they said Derek Jacobi was around filming something, and I thought, who's Derek Jacobi? So this was the episode. For those of you who follow Doctor Who, this was an episode that came to be known as Utopia, and it was the episode in which the Master, as played by Derek Jacobi for the first time, reappears. And what happens is that the TARDIS goes to the end of the universe, taking Captain Jack Harkness with it. He's clinging onto the outside, and they arrive in a future world, which the inside of it wasn't filmed in a Marsh Quarry. The inside of which was supposed to be a silo. So it's a silo. There's a big rocket, and Derek Jacobi as the Master, who doesn't know he's the Master yet, is working very tirelessly and very benignly to try and create a rocket to rescue people and take them to somewhere else. And then it transpires that he's the Master, who recognises his own identity, and then in a very kind of melodramatic camp fashion goes, I realise who I am now, I'm the Master, I'm evil, I will go and do evil things. And then the Master's back in Doctor Who. So the scene begins with, if you're actually watching it, it begins with the outdoor scenes, which we filmed later, of arriving in this. It's supposed to be a rocky planet, but actually it's a quarry. And then you get some chasey around in corridor scenes, and corridor scenes where they are the Doctor is meeting with Professor Janos, Professor Jana, and then you see the rocket and the Marrow. So from my point of view, very, very cold building, freezing cold, you can see your breath. And I discover that my role is to play one of the future kind. I've got it's a brilliant costume. It's all kind of quite kinky actually. It's quite a kink kind of costume. It's a little bit Mad Max, kind of leathery, and all the weapons that we've got are improvised. So I'm carrying this it's like a spear, but it's got within the middle of it, it's got a bicycle, the centre part of the hub of a bicycle wheel in there. I'm not sure what that's called. Really bloody heavy actually. And we get kind of falling over and dying lessons and running as a pack lessons from one of the sort of more senior people that play these kind of roles. This guy that I think he's been a Cyberman loads of times and that kind of thing. Regularly does this kind of stuff, and then in charge of him was his choreographer. So we get told that we're feral future humans and we've got pointy teeth. And although I didn't get to go to London to get fitted with fancy fangs, prosthetic fangs, they very cleverly use kind of painty stuff to make the teeth look pointy. So basically they just kind of put kind of yucky kind of dark stuff on the whites of the teeth, so and leave a pointy bit visible. So that's how kind of pointy teeth. So I'm not sure how many of us there were. About 10 maybe, and we are the future kind. So first day is chasing people down corridors, no running across rough ground, which is good. And at one point they're doing some photography and they say, right, everybody show us your scariest face. And I did my scariest face, and the second 2AD, which is the second assistant director, said, laughed and said I wasn't scary at all. But she laughed on the other side of her face a little bit further down the line, and I'll tell you at the end of the story. At the end of this ramble, there's a nice denouement. Okay, so that was that day. I remember the other second assistant director was very shitty. Sometimes they're horrible. They push people around, and so there was there wasn't a nice feeling among the crew, actually. Certainly not that day. It wasn't good. So yeah, that was it. I met my crew, and then next part was in the quarry at night, also freezing, and I think it was about sort of 5 nights in this quarry, and lots of mainly running down a hill, a steep slippery slope, and I am the last one lumbering down this hill trying to keep up with everyone else because I'm dyspraxic and I can't run. So that was that bit, but it was quite an atmospheric location, and we spent a lot of time. If you're a supporting artist, you spend a lot of time in the back of a bus, basically. If you're in an outside location, you know, the seated with tables and stuff like that, and you chatting to people. Oh God, they were an interesting crowd. There was one guy there that was we all called him Gimli because he looked like Gimli from the Lord of the Rings, and he was I think he was a tattoo artist, and you know, did piercings and stuff like that. And the conversations, it was some really quite, you do get some people with quite extreme lifestyles kind of doing that kind of role, and there were loads of people there that were talking about all different kinds. The conversation for most of our time there was about various forms of self-mutilation, including like kind of branding, you know, where people use a hot iron to kind of create you know, shapes in the skin, which is kind of another form of kind of tattooing, and one of the things that was discussed was people splitting their penises as well. That was kind of something we talked about quite a lot. And this guy kind of made me laugh because he talked about how he tried to give himself a Prince Albert, which for those who don't know is a piercing in through the penis, goes through the urethra and out the side. And he said that he was doing it to himself, and he nearly passed out at one point, and then described himself as, and I quote, these are the words I would use, what a pussy, because he passed out while he was trying to pierce with steel his own penis. So that wouldn't be, pussy's not really a word I use, but if I was going to use the word pussy, they're not the parameters in which I would judge whether somebody's a pussy or not, really. So that was kind of quite interesting, kind of unrelated fact, but my ringtone on my phone at the time was the Doctor Who theme, and I took a call in the middle of the bus while everyone was there, and everyone absolutely killed themselves laughing because they thought I was really sad for having a Doctor Who ringtone. So I need to pause the video again there because I can only upload short videos at the moment, so we're going to go into at least the 3rd episode of this little mini fireside ramble. So I'll see you again shortly for part 3.